Welcome back to the EuroLeague Fantasy Challenge Podcast. Javier, we had a lot of fun in the episode last week with John Shorna, but we must have done a horrible job for the fans because it was an utter disaster on the scoreboard.
It was horrible. Hello, Frankie. Hello, everybody. What do we tell these good people that follow us every week after what we did? All I can say is that
this is what makes it great. This is why we love it. You can know everything.
Yeah.
You can have the best players. You can have all the reasons to choose somebody. And then all of a sudden the shots don't go in or someone gets hurt or the matchups change and you end up with not a lot of points.
No, this is a fantasy lesson for everybody. It's that if you don't read the games well, it's a disaster. What happened in my case, at least, and I think it's your case too, because scores are pretty similar. We're not going to tell which one. I mean, how many points we got because it's completely embarrassing. But we thought Asbel was going to beat Alba, so we put Pupet as head coach, and at least I put Paris Lee as team captain because I thought he's going to get 30, 35 against Alba. It didn't happen. Actually, what I thought was going to be like an 80-point performance from both of them turned out to be minus 20 for Pupet and 22 as a captain for Paris Lee. Makes it 2 instead of 80. So everything went bad. And then I had some players with negative score. The players who played in the second turn did even worse than the players in the first turn. And altogether was a fantasy disaster. And still I beat you, which is it tells you how bad the situation was for both of us.
I thought I was brilliant by making sure I had a very high-priced backup for turn 2. And I went with Mike James, and he got an 8. And I said, all right, well, I've got Toko. Toko never lets us down. And Toko produces worst game of the season. I was unavailable right before the game started. I don't know exactly what time it was made public that Nigel Hayes-Davis was not playing, but if I was paying more attention, I would have seen he was not on the lineup sheet because it was the first game of the week. But I was unavailable. I didn't see it. That's another fairly expensive player that gave me a 0. At least I had Charas as my coach, but it was a tough week all around.
Yeah, I mean, I have to tell you that I was having a nap before the games. Because I had the evening off, and I woke up 5 minutes before the game. I turned on EuroLeague TV, and I saw Fenerbahce's lineup, and I said, "Something's wrong in here. Somebody's missing." And then, Hayes-Davis. I had in my best team, so I had to rush. Like, where's my phone? Where's my phone? I had to, and I think I traded whatever player instead of him, and it turned out to be Giadreitis, who had a 30. So that saved my best team from total disaster. It happens.
Even the last second, you could have just plugged in Dyson Pierre, and it would have been a huge, a great week. But yeah, I was not around, didn't see it. Big fat goose egg.
Yeah, it is what it is. Maybe, I mean, if we read the games properly and we guess, what we have in our minds happens on the court, maybe next week we'll get 200. That's the beauty of fantasy. I mean, nothing's guaranteed, good or bad. We'll see, but
it's a week by week, round by round game. There's a lot of guys I talked up a couple weeks ago, and then we had the chance to rebuild our teams. And I thought, oh well, I have more points. I can dump aside Kendrick Nunn, who had a very strong game, and I didn't play him. Also, PJ Dellinger, a player who I liked a lot a month ago and had in all my teams. Well, all my teams. I have 2 teams, but in both my teams, and he had a strong game, and he's not there anymore. So yeah, it's there's luck involved. That's if there was no luck involved, it wouldn't be as much fun.
Yeah, 2 rounds ago, I had. It was like in the second turn, Musa played, and I saw that Musa was in no team of the top 10 of the private league were playing, and I said, okay, if Musa plays well, I get a huge boost, and he got a PR of 45. So sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and this time. It was
we both lost this time.
Yeah,
a lose-lose situation.
Absolutely, it was horrible. But anyway, a new week means a new opportunity, and we have. Speaking of opportunities, we have some injuries that could impact the game pretty well. We can start talking about Hayes-Davis. He's going to be out for at least 4 weeks. He's not going to miss so many games because of the February break. But Dechampierre all of a sudden looks like the man in Fenerbahce, right?
Absolutely. Hayes-Davis plays a ton of minutes, so you've got a lot of minutes to fill. Not only did he have a great game, but their games do overlap a little bit. So the assumption is that they'll plug him in. He will play a chunk of minutes, and he is 9.9 credits. So that's a great price to pay for a player with his ability.
And I also like Nate Sestina. He started playing well 2 weeks ago after kind of adjusting to the competition. And now Sestina is only 4.9 credits, and he's going to play a lot because he's the only pure power forward that they have. I think that Saras is going to play Motley and Papagiannis together, but still that doesn't mean that Sestina is not going to play more, which I think he will, 20, 22, 25 minutes. So maybe Sestina, good three-point shooter, good rebounder, all-around solid player, could be a good fantasy choice, especially for the bench, because at 4.9, it cannot get much better than that, right?
Yeah, we're always looking for those guys, and the thing is that every once in a while you give up on someone who hasn't had a big game in a month and say, "All right, I'm going to get my next guy for four, or 5 credits," and then the guy who you just had goes off for 25 credits, and you're kicking yourself. But yeah, at 4.9 credits, he's in that he's in that mix for guys that you want to have to make your team work. And when he does have those big games, that's how you get to 200 credits.
Exactly. More injuries. Real Madrid announced that Walter Tavares and Sergio Llull would be out. Of course, Tavares is one of the biggest fantasy players, but they say also that the way he evolves, the way that he recovers, will mark when he's back. That's not like a deadline. He could be back next week. But should we take the risk to go with Poirier or not really?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what the reason is, but Poirier didn't play in the Spanish league on Sunday. He didn't play also last week. He had a strong game against Bayern Munich, and they did not play in the game on Friday, was it? So I don't know if that's just rest or if there's a reason, but I think that's something you want to check into also before you jump out there. He's on my skeleton squad that I already pulled this week because how could you not? He's been so good, and if he's going to be the go-to guy at the 5, you have to have him. But if there's some question mark there, if there's some injury, if he's not 100%, it may be something to rethink before the games, before this round gets going.
Yeah, we recommend you to not only check on Poirier, but also check if Tavares is going to be back. And if any of the two happens, I would stay away from Poirier. But if Tavares doesn't play and Poirier is available, I think he's a must at the 5 position.
Agreed.
And I will take him. And as for you, it's difficult. I mean, Musa will play a little bit more. Chacha will play a little bit more. Campazzo, who hasn't been playing a lot, will surely go back to 30 minutes. It's not easy.
It's not as big of a deal. It's not going to change that much.
Totally. And then the other injury that we have, and I would like to talk about, is Nemanja Nedovic going down. What do you think?
Well, they signed somebody earlier today, Javante Smart, who admittedly I didn't know much about, but before they signed him, and I don't think we can expect him to take that big of a role immediately. So there is opportunity there, but it is short-term opportunity because they did sign somebody to take that up. So I haven't really thought through how I think it's going to shake up this week, but I wouldn't build teams around it long-term about somebody coming over and taking, blossoming into a massive role. What's more, Nedovic missed several games at the beginning of the season, and the team was okay. So I think the bigger question there is Teodosic going to be healthy? If Teodosic is not healthy, if he has an issue and misses a game this week, I guess you have to have Iago.
Yeah, Iago would be, but my option, the player that I like, even when I don't know if I'm gonna play him or not, is Rokas Giedritis. He's been playing really well. He can see some minutes at the 2 position, maybe if they play with a tall lineup, with Hanga at the 3, and at the same time he plays Baskonia, his former team. So I like him. But this former team situation, I mean, we have to take it lightly. Shabazz Napier, last week, we all thought, I mean, that was one of our fantasy mistakes. Everybody thought that he was going to go against the former team, the team that he didn't play well with, and then he didn't play well. But some of the players who played against the former teams, they did excellent. Matthias Desort was MVP of the week. James Nunnally played really well against Fenerbahce, I think it was. Or was it Maccabi? No, it was Fenerbahce, right?
They play against Maccabi on Friday.
Yeah. So, I mean, some players did play well against the former teams, but it's not a rule. and Shabazz actually had a PR, was it PR 5 or something like that
Yeah.
last week. So I mean, it
The
happens.
former team is something as we like to make a big deal about it when a player plays well, and then we talk about maybe some revenge or something going on. But like with in all situations, the other team, if there's bad blood and the player wants to show up, well, his former teammates feel the same way, and we'll give in an extra incentive. And sometimes when you go outside your game because you have some extra motivation, that could hurt your game. You're trying too hard, and so while we like to talk about it and it is exciting, and it doesn't always work out. It could be just the opposite. So it's just a small factor, not one that I would rely too heavily on if I was using my brain when making these predictions.
Yeah, well, Giedraitis, I mean, everything points to a big Giedraitis game. He played really well the last couple of weeks. He plays against his former team. He plays at home.
Right.
I mean, I would play him, but the only thing is that I don't know if I'm gonna do it or not. To be
Well,
honest,
we've got a few more days before you have to commit. I think with all the things going on, the injuries, what the certain things being unclear, we'll both post our teams on social media on Thursday, a couple hours before the game, so people can see. But it's very difficult, especially after the last 2 weeks with all the double weeks when we had to really crunch and get that lineup in there, and all of a sudden they're playing Tuesday. Now this is a week where we can take some breath, see how things go, learn about the injuries. More things could also come up, right? It's a long week. Players get sick. Someone gets hurt in practice. All of a sudden, a value appears where you weren't expecting it. It's early. We'll see. There will be opportunities this week.
Take into account that we are recording this on a Sunday afternoon. Some teams haven't even played the domestic games, and the players can get injured. So we have to wait and see. So far, I have to say, and I'm going to show my team provisionally. The trades that I did until now, and I think the players that I'm losing, it's definitive. I'm selling Joel Parra because he had a negative score. I'm selling Alpha Diallo because I don't like his matchup against Madrid. And I sell Johannes Thiemann because I want to put Poirier in, together with Sestina and Alec Peters. So if Poirier doesn't play, I'll probably roll back and keep Thiemann and then put Rokas Giedraitis instead of Alec Peters. I like Alec Peters because, I mean, he plays against a high-scoring team who is not really strong at the 4 position like Maccabi, and he's having a hell of a season. So everything points to a good game by Peters, and I would make him my team captain provisionally. Like I said, we have to figure out the Poirier situation, and also I'd like to talk about Mike James. He had a, let's say, subpar game. He complained a lot about everything basically after the game. And I wonder if he's going to use that as a motivation, playing at home against the leader in the standings, Real Madrid. Should we keep Mike James or should we sell Mike James and try to use that much money in a player like, for instance, Shane Larkin, who always plays well against Barcelona?
So my fear is that to go backwards with your question, with Shane Larkin, then we're buying again into this narrative. But is it really based on facts? Sure, a couple years ago with a different team, when Micic was beside him, when Barcelona was a little bit different, when Charas was the head coach, yeah, Larkin was destroying them. But is this the same Memphis? Is it the same Barcelona? It wasn't the uniform that was great. So even though I expect Larkin after, also he had a not great game last week. And fortunately, I didn't have him. Although the way my team played, it wouldn't have surprised if I had him. Also, I'm not running out to grab him just yet. I think he'll probably have a stronger game. I don't think Shane Larkin has lost it at all. But I don't believe that this Barcelona matchup is one where we're going to see him going for 40 points again. With Mike James, I still think even after a bad game, he's almost matchup proof. It doesn't matter, big game, weak team. You can always expect him to come in, and he's not afraid to take the shots. Sometimes it doesn't work. He also, not just he complained on social media, he actually showed some evidence of some calls that maybe should have gone the other way. It's hard to know how that will affect it, the subconsciously everybody else, the other team, how they defend him, the referees. I hope not. I hope they're not reading what Mike James posts on social media. So there's question marks there, but yeah, he's going to be my captain on Thursday. I don't see any way around it. And I'll roll from there. But I still believe in Mike James. I'm not ready to cut him yet.
I wish he's your captain on Thursday because he plays Friday. So that would be a big mistake on your side. We'll see. No, but I mean, if I have to choose, let's see what happens. But if I have to choose between Larkin and Mike James, I'm going with Larkin. I think that not being, in such great shape, he always played well against Barca. Now that he's playing really, really well this season, he should kill them. Problem is that, of course, there are different players. He's not playing against Galaitas anymore. Now he has Thomas Satoransky in front of him.
That's right.
And his numbers were not that good last season, and they have a different coach. Everything is different.
Right.
But still, I think Larkin, based on the fact that he's been playing so well, playing at home, I think he'll be all right, and he'll get more points than Mike James. But with that in mind, right now I have James in my lineup because the 3 trade limitation, it is what it is. I mean, sometimes you have to keep players that James will do, I think, reasonably well, right? I mean,
that's what I'm planning on. I will tell you my here's the team that I'm going with this week, tentatively, at least as of Sunday evening. The players out were Hayes-Davis, of course. There's no value in keeping an injured player on the bench. I thought I was a genius last week when I saw that Sergio Baco was out, and I pick up Brankovic. Not a brilliant move in the end. So he's gone. And Vanja Mirkovic, who I think is a very good player for his value, but I needed to make some moves, so he's gone. And in place, I've brought back Kendrick Nunn, and I think he will stay for a long time because I'm kicking myself for not having him on last week. And I think he could be that Marcus Howard type of player, where sometimes he'll do a lot, miss some shots, and not get the points. But overall, I feel good about him. And at 10.4 credits, he's someone who I'm comfortable rolling out there every week. Poirier, who, I think is almost a must at this point. And then Yanni Wetzel from Albert Berlin, who has put together several strong games. And when you look at players who, from a certain talent, a certain ability, a certain role, when they start to put together, the hope is, okay, now they've turned a corner. Alec Peters has been absolutely dynamite all season long, but for years we've watched Alec Peters and the talent and said, why doesn't he, why isn't he more consistent? Sometimes it takes a while. You got to find the right role. Last year he was the backup to Sasha Vezenkov. This year he's almost as good as Sasha Vezenkov. So my hope is with Wetzel and it's been less time for guys like Nunn or PJ Dozier I've spoken about before, but sometimes it takes something to figure it out, to find your role, to make it all work. Hey, Shane Larkin was an okay player in Baskonia. When he got to FS, he became, he should have been the MVP that first year if not for COVID. So I'm hoping that Wetzel is now going to get on that road and become an impact player. And at 7.3 credits, he's the guy to have. What I didn't see, who's your coach this week?
Same as yours.
Okay.
Frankie of Virtus Bologna.
Yeah.
We went against Alba last week, and we got a -20, but still we're going against Alba. Karma is going to hit us hard sometimes. I mean, they already did, but I mean, I don't see Virtus losing at home against Alba after losing so badly and playing the worst game of the season in Istanbul.
Correct.
They had time to regroup, and I think they're the better team, basically.
Yeah, so that is the conventional logic, and when you can get him he's at 5.9 credits, then that seems like the right move to make. Yeah,
everybody. I think 90% of the active users and 90% of the people who are watching this are going to have Luka Banki. Maybe when they see that we bought him, maybe they'll hurry away from him.
That's right. Maybe that's the new trend. Whatever we say, do the opposite. If you have a good idea or you think we're foolish for taking him, let us know.
Yeah, we have a section of comments right behind these lines. You can leave us a comment and we'll read them and reply, and we'll be happy to hear from you guys. And of course, you can find us in our Twitter accounts,
our X accounts.
Yes, Frank is Mr. EuroLeague. I'm Gancedo with a double T. And that's it. Very good luck in round 22. Enjoy the games. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and don't forget to make moves and choose wisely on the Fantasy Challenge.
We will be back next week. Good luck, everybody.
Good luck. See ya.